who is also a practice leader at Kyndryl Consult.
Yep.
Okay, so welcome them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I think we're the last ones before lunch, so we want to make this worthwhile for you all. So let me introduce myself, Umair Dinarwala. I lead the Cloud Applications Data and AI practice for Canada. What does that mean actually? Is that I get the opportunity to work with our customers and transform things into reality, which is how are they adopting the use cases around AI, how are actually cleaning their data, how are they adopting cloud, and then eventually I do the execution as well as part of that. So that's my responsibility, but I'll hand it over to Jessica for introduction before we get into introducing Kyndryl as well.
Sounds great. Great to be here. I'm Jessica Saperstein. I lead our North American Kyndryl Vital practice. Kyndryl Vital is what you would call a challenger brand. We're actually pretty new to the scene in terms of customer experience, employee experience, transformation, advisory services within the broader Kyndryl. And really excited to be here. And I think you'll find that our conversation plays in really nicely to some of what we've been hearing all morning.
So before we get into, and I am asking questions to Jessica, how many people actually know about Kyndryl? Oh, wow. That's really good that at least we've got a few that know actually Kyndryl. But I'll just make a quick introduction, right? So Kyndryl is now 4 years old this month, but we've got a legacy of 40 years because we spun off from a large IT company as well. And what we've been, we're present in around 65 countries, 80,000 employees globally. In Canada, we've got around 2,500 employees as well. So we are headquartered out of Toronto, but we're national, of course, we've got the scale. We are the largest infrastructure services, managed services company, where we are managing mission-critical systems throughout the globe. And a lot of our large institutions, financial sector, government, we actually manage those as well. So you're going to be thinking about why is Kyndryl, an infrastructure company, sitting over here in the Customer Experience Summit, talking about experience, AI, and I think that's what we're going to delve into. So, Jessica, I wanted to ask you that we've had so many really good conversations today, right? So we heard Brandon talk about Sherwood and the story that happened, and then we had some really good panel discussions on Matix and GiftBid as well, right? What is how do you define experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I mean, I think experience is really all about and tied to the human emotion. And it is really all the way. I've been a CXO, I've been an advisor, but I've been inside companies like many of you. And we would define experience, it is how your customer, your employee, and each of your stakeholders perceives and feels about every touch point they have with your organization, your brand, your product, your service. So it is highly emotional, and it is very much defined in the eyes of your customers, employees, and stakeholders, not you. So I think that's really important, and it's really important to contemplate and understand how they are defining the experience.
And I agree, as you said, right, it's just not the customers, but it's the internal as well, like your employees, your partners, your stakeholders, how are they actually experiencing you as well as an end-to-end organization that builds that brand as well. So the next question that I have is, we've heard about AI, generative AI. How does AI and experience blend together, and what is that linkage?
Yep. So AI, you can kind of think about AI. AI is like the engine in the car, and experience is everything that surrounds that engine. It's the seats, it's the dashboard, it's the chassis, it's the design, it's the brand of the car. That is all part of the experience. AI is really a tool and enabler that allows us as organizations and providers to deliver on the experience or need that that customer has. But it is purely a tool. And if you're just focused on the AI itself, you are not going to be delivering on that customer, user, stakeholder need. So I think it's really important to understand the two. I mean, we've been talking about customer experience for the past couple of decades, even before AI. I mean, there was always machine learning, there was always the elements of AI, but really, at the end of the day, experience is really, again, how we are delivering and bringing to life that brand, your product, and your services. So it is an incredible tool. We'll talk more about how we are bringing it to life, but it has to be done hand in hand with the experience. And I think I'll turn the tables now and ask you a question, Umair. Tell me a little bit more. We talked about who Kyndryl is. Tell me a little bit more about, and tell us more about what Kyndryl is doing in the area of AI.
So if I tell you one thing is that 4 years ago, what Kyndryl is and what Kyndryl is today is a stark difference from what we have. And I've been there since the inception of Kyndryl, right? So Kyndryl has and I'll give you two perspectives to it. One is an internal perspective of how we're actually using AI, but I'll also give you a perspective of how we're actually helping our customers leverage AI as well. So one is that we actually built out our own ecosystem of our services and how we deliver our services to our customers based around AI. So we embedded AI and we built out an ecosystem called Kyndryl Bridge. And if you search that, it's going to pop up right in front of the Kyndryl website as well, Kyndryl Bridge. And what we're doing is that ecosystem has multiple modules, and we leverage that not to sell to our customers, but actually to deliver services to our customers. So whatever we're actually doing is embedded AI. So as we're doing managed services, or we're managing an infrastructure, or we're managing an application, we're actually leveraging AI to predict the issues that come up, what type of issues come up. And the fact that we are a global organization, we actually have access to a lot of the way we manage our customers. So we have common issues, common challenges that customers face, and that all predictiveness actually comes up, and then we can actually be more proactive for our customers. So we first adopted AI. And what happened is that we led that into how do we help our customers as well adopt AI, because we use it ourselves. And the idea was, we've been talking about a lot of, hey, how do you make the experience better for our end users, your customers outside the digital? But there is a back office element to it as well. And that's where we're helping our customers a lot, is that how do you optimize your operations? How do you actually streamline your operations? Because if you're going to do that, that's going to enable IT to be able to help you actually provide better services and then adopt AI as well. So that was how we're actually leveraging it from an operational perspective, how we're enabling our customers to leverage that as well. But the next thing that we've actually been done is, and there's been a lot of announcements, is that we actually launched our agentic AI framework as well. And that was actually announced in July of this year. So there is, of course, a press release out there. There's multiple news that comes out every day. We're living in a world where after 6 months, agentic AI, we'll be talking about something else as well. So agentic AI, the framework that we have is that we're actually helping our customers adopt AI, deploy AI, and how they can actually leverage agents. Now, we've heard the word agents, chatbots in the past. But now what we're doing is that how do you actually have autonomous agents that are talking to each other and actually then taking operations and doing operations themselves. And they actually are now writing code. They're actually performing operations that you would actually have to do on an ongoing basis every time. So that's actually alleviating the burden of individuals so that you can actually focus on more better tasks as well. So that's what we're doing. And I'll give you a couple of examples as well, Jessica, is that we've actually helped a customer streamline, automate, but also leveraging AI, employee onboarding. So how do you actually get employee onboarding? And when I talk to any customer today, they're like, oh, my employee onboarding is a big challenge because we've got so many systems that don't need to talk to each other. The experience that we want to give to our new employees needs to be very streamlined. And how can you actually give certain commands that an agent goes back and actually starts talking to different applications, but talk to different agents and actually onboard an employee, and so that all the tasks like issuing a laptop, issuing an ID is done pretty fast as well, and we've been doing that as well. One interesting conversation that I had last week, which was an insurance provider in Canada over here, and they've been trying to adopt AI, and we've had conversations on how do we make a business case, how do we actually get the executives on board, right? And they came to us and said, and it was the CISO and also the operations head, and they said, hey, we would like to actually adopt agentic AI within our operations first, show that as a value add to our business and our board, and then we can adopt it. So there's a nice way of actually how do I leverage it internally to save cost, but also to automate processes, show that how things could be done in a faster way, and go that, and then actually show it to the business so that you can adopt it more. enterprise-wide as well. And we had the CISO because everyone's concerned about security, and that's how the CISO wants to understand how do you actually leverage that as well to be able to take it to scale as well, because we've heard a lot of people doing POCs, but how do you take it to scale is a big important part as well. So that's my answer to what we're doing in AI, but of course I'll get into more details around agentic as well. But Jessica, with this pivotal time, you've had a lot of experience as well, and we've been talking about why this is such a pivotal time for experienced leaders as AI is scaling as well. Let's discuss that as well.
Yeah, I mean, for all of you who've been in the experience place for a while, I mean, this is such an exciting time. If you think about what we've been talking about, I know ever since I got into customer experience, it was all about making experiences empathetic, right? Like personalized, insightful, actually helping customers do that next thing or plan for that next thing before they've even thought about it. And really intuitive, as easy as possible, right? Like ideally that onboarding experience, you don't want that employee to feel anything, you just want things to happen, right? Those are the magical kinds of signature experiences we've all been striving to do. The challenge is, and anyone who's been in the trenches, and I know you all have been, is they're very expensive. We haven't had the tools, we haven't had the workforce, we haven't had the budgets to deliver on those experiences in a scalable way. What is so exciting about AI and agentic AI is now we're in an age where you can actually deliver on those magical experiences and it doesn't cost you multi-millions of dollars. You don't have to wait months and years for IT to prioritize it on their roadmap. We can do it now. And that is what is so exciting now about being in CX. So I really think this is the age of experience. And what we're able to do with agentic AI now is amazing if it is deployed right, and if we are deploying it with an understanding of how it impacts how our customers, our users, and our stakeholders feel. If we don't have that part of the equation, we're going to fail massively with AI. So I think it's really, really important, and that's what we, within our team at Kyndryl Vital, are all about, and that is what we are partnering with Umair's team and our technology teams to bring that understanding of human experience, human emotion, into the design and deployment of AI at scale. And the good news is it won't cost millions of dollars anymore, and it won't take months and years to do anymore. We could do it today, but we want to make sure we're doing it in the right way. Umair, I'm going to turn the tables and ask you a question around, you mentioned agentic AI. So talk to us a little bit about how we're using agentic AI, and for those who aren't as familiar with agentic, talk a little bit about what that means and how we're deploying it.
Before I get into that, right, as you said, is that it's not going to cost millions, and you're right, because at one point, a token used to cost $67 a token and million tokens, and now what I'm hearing right now, that cost has gone down by 97%. So you see that a few years back, it was very tough. It was pretty expensive to adopt AI, but with all those large language models, these organizations that are so advanced with a lot of infrastructure that's already in place, it's actually made it more efficient, but also cost effective as well. So going back to agentic AI, right, is that, so I think 6 months ago, or probably 9 months ago, I was not even talking about agentic AI, and I heard the name of agentic AI from our global innovation lab, and they were saying, hey, we need to get on the bandwagon of agentic AI. This is going to change the Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure, or AWS. Leverage that investment that you've made because you've created an ecosystem. What we do is that framework could be deployed leveraging those tools as well. And that allows the integration and the capabilities. What we call, within our agentic framework, we've got the agentic core. There are two aspects to it. One is, how do you ingest that data and integrate it with the ecosystem? The second portion of it is the agent builder aspect, is where when you have that in the system and you've actually deployed it, how are you now churning out new agents? Because those agents are going to be the ones that are going to perform a lot of the functions. I'll give you an example of a customer that we've been working with. It's a global bank, and they had an issue of how do they actually optimize their know your customer and customer onboarding. So this is front end, customer facing, right? And the approach that we take is that we actually And this was a coordination between Vital and the practices, because what happens is that you've got technology, but you've got to merge that experience as well. So the first step is that you sit into a room, get all the stakeholders in a room, and actually workshop things out through a design thinking experience, and then you map out the existing process, because that's very important, is that you map out the existing process. And once you understand that whole process, this is where now you look at, okay, where the human touch is very much important, because you can't eliminate the human touch. But then where are the agents that could be deployed? And then you start building out the agents and build out a new flow that would actually make it more autonomous, agentic, but with the human touch as well, because you need that as well. And what has happened is that an account opening and a know your customer process that used to take 6 days is now done in less than 24 hours. And the organization has saved a lot of, like, around $19 million. So that's one experience, and that's one example of it.
Well, and the magic in that is that it isn't just about saving dollars, but it's also about making that experience better. And I think that has always been the catch-22 for experienced leaders, is you'd be sitting in a boardroom and they'd be talking about, hey, we got to improve profits this quarter, therefore we got to cut people, and we know that our customer experience is going to take a hit. And we've been seeing that quarter after quarter for years and years. What is really exciting about AI now is that allows us to redeploy, save money, and improve experience by creating more natural, more empathetic, more insightful, easier experiences. I think that is that balance that we're now able to get right if we focus our AI use cases in the right ways.
Exactly, and I think that's what leads into my next question, is that we've seen a lot of AI projects fail, and we've done a lot of studies. Kyndryl has done those, right, with CXOs. And it's more of, why do you think a lot of the AI projects have failed, or actually been at the POC level but never gone to production? And what are the lessons learned?
Yep. There's a ton of research out there on this, and I would say, number one, it actually relates to a topic we were just talking about before our session, which was all about business and IT alignment. If you don't have that, you are not going to achieve objectives, or you may not be focusing the project in the right place. And I know, having been a business leader working with IT for many years, how often that alignment doesn't happen. And actually, there was a study by IDC that said only 40% of organizations have that business and IT alignment, and that is critical now in the age of AI. So I think that's number one, having your business and IT alignment, just as we heard, from the NFL in the last session, that's critical. Number two is that the AI use cases never contemplated the experience. And we see this a lot when we're talking to clients, and Kyndryl Vital, where we're all about experience transformation, we get involved and we say, well, wait a minute, the reason why your use case never went anywhere is, did you look at the employee journey or customer journey? Did you understand what you were trying to do here? Were you putting that customer first and front and center? Yep. And in many cases, they were not. So contemplating, understanding that customer, using all the tools and insights that we've been using for years and bringing that into the AI use case development and deployment is really important. And then finally, it's really picking and making sure that you have all the resources and the expertise to scale those use cases in a safe, reliable, and well-governed way. And that is really where Kyndryl brings a lot of power and expertise, because we've got the security knowledge, we understand how to scale massive technology in a reliable and well-governed way. And I think that, maybe, Umair, you could touch a little bit further about what is unique and different about Kyndryl in this space as an organization.
No, for sure. So one of the things that has been very important, and I think and I was talking to a friend, and he actually he's a chief data and AI officer not in Canada, but in another country. And I was like, where do you see a challenge as you actually adopt AI in the organizations? And he said, adoption is not the number one challenge anymore. It's actually how you're going to embed that in the DNA of the organization, right? And because AI is here, everyone understands that AI is not going anywhere. Everyone has to adopt it. Everyone has to accept it. And I think the acceptability is increasing every day. But it's more of, how do you now take it to the next step, which is, Why is it technology-led, and why it should not be technology-led only? It should be leadership-led. It should bleed into the culture of the organization. And what we're doing as an organization is that with Vital, our idea is to how we actually embed culture, leadership, and then you take that angle. We have been a technology company forever, right? Yes, 4 years old, but we've got the legacy. And what we've done is that we've laid the foundation where we actually manage critical workloads, mission critical, where you've got security, you've got auditability, and therefore we manage that. So we understand that layer very, very well. Now it's more of how you scale that, and when you're adopting AI, how do you scale that? And what we bring to the table is that with our framework, what we've embedded are 3 core areas that are going to be very important for us is security, trust, and compliance. Because we work with organizations that are regulated, that are public sector as well. And we heard the public sector, it's not easy because you've got processes that have already been built in, and there is a reason for that, right? And we've been working with them, so that combination of us understanding the infrastructure layer, understanding that criticality of an organization to be stable running on a day-to-day basis. Now you embed AI into it. How do you make sure that that trust, compliance, auditability is there, is what we bring to the table. And that's where we've seen a lot of those examples where the customers are trusting us, whereas we didn't have that history 10 years ago, or where Kyndryl, or the part of what we were in the other organization, we didn't do that. But the reason why they trust us right now is because of our ability to actually manage mission critical stuff, and that's actually led to that.
And actually, we talked before about how do you get leadership buy-in, executive buy-in from your CEO, your board, your leadership teams. That's what they're going to care about. That is what they're going to ask about: the security, the reliability, the scalability, the ability to actually deliver. And it's not the exciting stuff that we're talking about in the room, but it's the mission critical stuff that really matters. So. Because
that's the first question that happens is that, okay, what happens if I have multiple agents running around? How do I actually manage information security? How do I manage IAM, so identities? What if I let these agents on their own? What's going to happen with that? So there's all that, and then you've got responsible AI as well. So how do you manage that? How do you actually manage privacy of data as well? So it's all of that actually plays into it really well, and that's how the framework was built on. Is that you have to cover all of that, just bringing in that enterprise mindset of the enterprises will need all these bases covered. The last question that I had, Jessica, with you was is that Kyndryl has announced Kyndryl Vital. Then we've been making some very exciting announcements. Then we're doing a study as well. If you could just talk about Kyndryl Vital, what we've been doing globally as well, but also the announcements that we've made, that'll be very good.
Terrific, yeah. So Kyndryl Vital, as mentioned, we are the experience transformation arm of Kyndryl, and we are partnering really closely with our clients across industries to bring that human and experience element into the technology work that we are doing, and especially in AI. We recently announced a global partnership with a company called VML. VML is a large advertising agency, CX, and marketing organization. They're part of WPP Group. And what that allows us to do is truly deliver on what Kyndryl's vision has been all the way from the beginning, which is providing our clients with services from chip to experience, or experience to chip. So all the technical, hardcore IT stuff, but also all the experience elements across the entire journey. So not just the back-end journey, but the front-end journey around sales, service, e-commerce, marketing, advertising. And what VML, our partnership with VML, allows us to do is really deliver that seamlessly and embed AI where and when it makes the most sense in those journeys. So we have a partnership with VML. You're going to be hearing more about that, and we can bring some of those services to our clients. The other thing we are doing with that partnership is we are doing a study of chief experience officers and experience leaders. And we'd love to include anyone from this audience, if you want to nominate your company or organization to participate in it. That study that we're doing over the next couple months is then going to define our priorities and where we invest when it comes to AI and innovation in our innovation labs, We've got global innovation labs. We are putting a lot of money and technology and research behind it.
Yep.
And anyone who participates in the study will be able to help shape that and be among the first to get access to that. So we'd love to invite you to our booth or reach out to anyone from the Kyndryl side, and we'd love to include you in that study. And then the final thing is come visit our booth. What we are doing at our booth, we actually have our expert Kyndryl Vital facilitators that are doing AI canvases, where basically we're helping you in a very short and compressed time map out some of the critical elements of your AI strategy, contemplating both the technology side and the human experience side. So it'll give you a little bit of a taste of the kind of work we do within Kyndryl Vital, and really
Everyone promised to go to lunch.
Now that my mic is on, lunch is next door. Exhibitor booths next door, and we will be coming back shortly before 2, I believe, but you'll hear us out there collecting you all. Thank you.
Thank you.